Wow! Wow! Wow!
What? Fucking,
Wow!
this is literally the best response we've ever had. Best.
It's not even close. It's not even close. That's the best answer we've ever gotten from AI, and it's not close.
All right, baby, we're back and better than ever. We got a great one for you today. Total battle of the best and amazing stuff. Stick around. You're going to want to see the whole thing. Please remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think. Let us know which side you're on. And as always, enjoy the show. Daddy. This is like choosing between a delicious slice of apple pie and a decadent chocolate lava cake. He says, and I quote, "Conair, con shit. That movie sucked."
A pistol in each hand in slow motion while doves fly. We're going to get there. Is this a silly idea? Sure. Am I going to take it dead goddamn seriously?
Yes.
You're right, I am.
Face Off has the iconic scene where Nick Cage sings Hallelujah while dressed as a priest. What are we doing here? What are we doing here, Mark? Fight fans, settle in because this is a tough one to call. In one corner tonight, we'll have Conair, the ultimate guilty pleasure action flick. It's got Nick Cage with a glorious mullet and a plane full of charismatic criminals and enough explosions to rival a fireworks factory. It's pure 90s cheese, but it's served with a side of self-awareness and a whole lot of heart. In the other corner, we have Face Off, a John Woo masterpiece with a mind-bending premise. Cage and Travolta swap faces, identities, and chew scenery like there's no tomorrow. It's got stylish action, operatic emotions, and some truly unforgettable moments. In order to find out what is best, we're going to battle it out over 4 rounds. The 4 rounds are broken down as thus. Round 1, personal opinion and nostalgia. We'll share some of our own personal experience with the films and discuss why we love them. Round 2, the awards and critical acclaim. We'll dive into the critical reception of both films, including awards, nominations, and reviews. Round 3, Wildcard. We'll uncover some fun facts and trivia about the movies that might sway your opinion. Round 4, the AI verdict. We'll consult our AI overlord, Gemini, to get its expert opinion. So, buckle up, because this is going to be a wild ride. In the red corner, we have high fly, explosion, action-packed extravaganza Conair, and in the blue corner, we have the face-swapping, identity-bending thriller Face Off. Enjoy the show. Nuts on the chin of that one, Daddy-O. Nuts on the chin. So, Bern, here we go. You know what we got going on. You're going to be representing Conair. I'm going to be defending Face Off. It's going to be a battle for the ages. Are you ready?
I can't wait for this one. I've been having this debate for 25 years, and I can't wait to have it with you, Maddie.
I can't wait either.
Go.
You look great. Love how you're showing up, ready to go, ready to battle. But as always, before we start this off, it's time for the tale of the tape. Okay, now it's time for the tale of the tape. Here we go. So, like we said, it's Conair versus Face Off. So, release date. Conair was released June 6, 1997. Face Off, June 27th, 1997. 3 weeks apart. The runtime for Caan Career, 1 hour, 55 minutes. Runtime for Faceoff, 2 hours and 18 minutes. So fairly close, 20 something minutes apart. Film budget. Caan Career's film budget, $75 million. Faceoff film budget, $80 million. So, I know 5 million is more money than we'll see in our lifetimes, but that was the split there. Opening weekend box office. Here we go. Caan Career, 24.1 million opening weekend box office. Faceoff, 22.3 million opening weekend box office. Yeah. Think about that. In a matter of 1 month, Nicolas Cage, it was in that weekend, in 2 weekends in 1 month, he made he generated $46 million.
Which is a huge amount. Like, now, if a movie opened, if a Marvel movie opened today to $47 million, the entire studio would kill itself. But in 1997, those are massive opens.
Oh, absolutely. Especially think about that. It makes a third of the budget the opening weekend. If you're the producer, you're like, okay, we're happy with this. And then think about this. Worldwide box office gross for Caan Career, $224 million. $75 million film budget, and then worldwide box office gross, $224 million. So made their money back and then some. And then for Face-Off, remember, $80 million film budget, they had a $245.7 million worldwide box office gross. And then $100 million plus in DVD sales for Caan Career, $50 million plus in DVD sales for Face-Off. Face-Off ultimately edged out Caan Career in worldwide box office gross, but Caan Career seems to have been more popular home video US and on the opening weekend. But both films are action classics and have dedicated fan bases. So I'm excited to do this. Bern, so that was the tale of the tape. Are you ready to move into round one?
These two were born to go toe to toe. I can't wait to get into this, and I can't wait to explain to you why Caan Career is the far superior film.
Do you know what Chris Rock says?
Not familiar with it.
He says, and I quote, Caan Career, con shit. That movie sucked. Before researching this, I had forgotten that John Woo directed Face Off.
A pistol in each hand in slow motion while doves fly. We're going to get there.
Yeah. I mean, but that's Woo's trademark,
You're goddamn right it is.
Just an FYI, Face Off was produced by several companies, including Permut Presentation, Touchstone Pictures, Paramount Pictures, Douglas Ruther Productions, and WCG Entertainment Productions. So it's Paramount. Caan Career, produced by several studios. I guess it was a combination of Touchstone and Jerry Bruckheimer, I guess.
I'm thinking it was just Jerry Bruckheimer's big old fat balls, just being like, I have 7 production companies. They're all mine. They all have different names for tax reasons, and we're making this movie.
All right, Bern. So round one. Are you ready?
I was born ready for this one, man.
All right, round one. Fight. So like we said, round one is going to be personal opinion and nostalgia. Benoit, we're going to kick it off to you, my man. Go ahead.
I can't wait for this conversation. Caan Career is a pure, unadulterated action romp from the very beginning to the very end. All right. This movie is everything I wanted in 1997 as a guy who just finished my freshman year of high school. What was I going to do? Right. I mean, it's summertime, time to cut loose, time to go out, time to have some fun. But we don't all have cars yet. I just finished my freshman year. So we didn't have anybody with cars. We were still very much in that after middle school thing of we're going to go to the movies. We're going to get some pizza. We're going to go, start a fight with the St. Nick's kids, for a couple of hours until our moms show up and we all hop in the same minivan and are like, fuck you guys. We'll see you next weekend. Caan Career, absolute romper, man.
Yeah.
Walked out of that movie literally high-fiving people who have been on this show. Jones has been on this show.
Yeah.
Gallagher's been on this show. Murph's been on the show. I mean, this was the way you kick up. You finish school on a Thursday, and then you
Yeah.
go see Con Air on Friday. And guess what? Summertime, baby. Now
Oh,
we're having fun.
yeah.
Now we're doing it.
Great way to
Now
kick
we're
off the
going hard.
summer. Yeah.
It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect.
I'd have to say it's a
Um,
good drive-in movie as well. Both of them are. We'll agree. Both good for the
great,
drive-in.
both good for the drive-in. Con
Hmm.
Air is like has that perfect mix of like nonstop action, ridiculous premise, um, so many quotable lines. Like, do you
Oh,
know, maybe less than 2 weeks ago, uh, my youngest brother Pulaski made a joke to me about holding a gun to a stuffed bunny's head. You know what I mean? It's lived forever. Gallagher, former guest of the show, fan of the show, listen to the show, his daughter was born on the same day Cameron Poe's daughter was born in the movie. I don't remember the date of that right now, but I remember I sent him a congratulation message and then just quoted the entire letter that Nick Cage wrote home to his daughter. That happened. It was
yeah.
real. Con Air for me, so much fun. It's the gift that never stops giving. The villains are more ridiculous as they get introduced. It, it's kind of for me a perfect summer action blockbuster. And I will never forget like finishing school and the next day going to see that and then being like, all right, summertime. Who's got a pool? Get your bike.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see it again.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful time in my life, Manny.
I'll tell you, there is something about like the movie theater on a summer night, right? You get there, you're rocking some shorts, you get in, you grab some popcorn, maybe some Twizzlers, a couple skitties, you hit the theater, you're there with your buds. You know, first you're goofing off, but then the movie starts and you're into it, right? It's a total thing. I would like to say this also. One of the redeeming qualities of Con Air is that he's an Army Ranger. So my dad was a big fan of that, being he was a former Army Airborne Ranger. Also, the fact that he killed the guy substitute style, nose bone through the brain. Right? Like that's I mean, great stuff, right?
He didn't want to, Matt. He didn't want to. He was
No.
just trying to have a
Yeah,
night out with his lady, and he let them
right.
know. He said,
Let him know.
fellas, guys, I don't want this. You
Guys,
don't
I'm a
want
vet. I'm
this.
a vet, guys.
I just got home. No one wants this. We're all
No
just
one.
trying to have a fine night. Why don't you guys go have yourself an excellent night?
Agreed. So, okay. Are you ready, Bern? It's time to step into the ring of some epic 90s action for this movie showdown. Here you go, Bern. All right. Face off. Let's talk about it. Let's do about it. Let's be about it. It is just bonkers in the best possible way, right? This is, I think, the movie definition of taking chicken shit and making chicken salad. Am I right? Nicolas Cage, Johnny T, coming off a couple hot movies. These guys are red hot 90s right now. Johnny
Smoke.
T's, his whole career's resurgence since Pulp Fiction. Nicolas Cage, red hot action star from The Rock, right? They're chewing scenery as they swap faces, identities, and lives. It's a glorious over the top spectacle that embraces its absurdity with operatic flair, right? One of the things I love about John Woo is that he takes the like obscene and laughable stuff and he makes it into like over the top art and poetry. He creates scenes, he creates visual things that you're like blown away and you completely forget, oh, this is two guys who their faces were swapped and their whole lives changed. Like ridiculous premise, but it made the movie like his directing and his, cinematography and everything he did, the way he used the camera, the way he used the guys, the way he shot it, to made you forget that this is a ridiculous premise.
It's a great point because like the premise of the movie is on its on its feet silly, but
Yes.
John Woo never treats it like it's silly,
No.
right?
Correct.
He's like,
Correct.
no, is this a silly idea? Sure. Am I going to take
Yeah.
it dead goddamn seriously? You're
Yes.
right, I am. there's a point in the movie where like half of it, it's like Nick Cage being like, I gotta act like John Travolta, acting like Nick Cage. And Travolta's like, I gotta
Yeah.
act like Nick Cage, acting like John Travolta. And like, yeah, it is on its face ridiculous, but Wu never treats it that way. He never
No.
treats it like it's silly. He takes it super seriously. And I think you're right. I think a lesser director would fall into like how silly the premise is, and then we
Yeah.
have a movie that we're not even talking about right
But leading up to this, he had done Broken Arrow, which was absolutely fantastic, right?
now. So
And that was
underrated.
incredible move. Johnny T again, right?
Christian Slater, Howie
And
Long,
oh, dude, I'll tell you, man.
and that
I
girl that
like,
no one ever saw again. But
yeah,
but
dude.
Christian Slater, Howie Long.
Yeah, dude, Broken Arrow, great film, but that was kind of like my introduction to John Woo. And I think he's like, look, they're gonna give me chicken salad or chicken shit, and I'm gonna make chicken salad. I don't care what the movie, the story is. I'm making it as serious and taking everything super serious and doing it the best I can. And I think that's why he was able to then get like Mission Impossible 2, Wind Talkers, and like Paycheck, Hostage, things like that, and really kind of up his game. He embraces the absurdity, right? Con Air, while entertaining, feels more like a standard action flick. It's got its moment, but it lacks the sheer audacity and, let's say, originality of Face Off. Plus, Face Off has the iconic scene where Nick Cage sings Hallelujah while dressed as a priest. What are we doing here? What are we doing here, man?
In a situation where something is completely ridiculous, uh, where Con Air kind of winks at it and winks at the audience, John Woo is like, I don't know what you're laughing at. There's nothing funny
Yeah,
about this. This is
yes,
deadly
yes.
goddamn serious. And I think
It's like,
and I think that's probably the difference between the two. Like, yeah, Con Air, because listen, we can go through a lot of breakdowns of these. Like,
fuck.
there's no reason for Bubba Gump to be on that plane. I mean, they're literally transporting all of the worst criminals in the entire world, and they're like, "Oh yeah, and this diabetic guy's got to get on there too." And like
Yeah,
that's what makes Nick Cage do all the crazy stuff and not get off where he's supposed to. Like, that's a ridiculous premise. Why would Bubba Gump ever be on that plane with
yeah,
all of these other insane murderers?
yeah,
I think he was there for tax evasion. I don't quite remember. But like,
yeah,
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 where Con Air kind of will wink at you while it's happening, John Woo's like, I have never winked a day in my life, and I'm not going to
yeah.
start right now. And
No,
and those are the vibes of those two movies. You know what I mean? Like
agreed.
it shows through.
So,
Uh,
okay, Bern, do you have anything more for round one? Because I would like to move on to round two.
I mean, I just want to say for round one, as far as nostalgia goes, I talked about my experience of seeing Con Air in theaters. 2 weeks later, I went to the exact same movie theater and saw
Yep.
Face Off. Like, I was
Yeah.
now 3 weeks into summer vacation,
Yeah.
but these fucking movies both came out in June of '97. We got summer blockbusters.
I do miss going to the movies. I used to go a lot. We go,
I still do.
dude, we used to go all the time. So, but either way, let's keep it moving on down the road. All right, so that was round one. We're gonna keep it moving on to round two. In round two, we're gonna talk awards and critical acclaim. Face Off may not have swept the Oscars, but it earned critical praise for its innovative action sequences and the dual performances of its leads. Face Off, nominated for an Academy Award for Best Sound Editing, received positive reviews from critics, with many praising the film's visual style, action sequences, and performance. I think what it is like John Woo was like the new hot guy from Japan, so all the critics were smoking his cock. I do believe that, but a lot of it's praise well earned. Con Air, while it was a box office hit, Con Air received mixed reviews. Some critics found it to be an entertaining guilty pleasure, while others criticized its over-the-top action and one-dimensional characters. Face Off might not have had the same level of commercial success as Con Air, but it arguably holds up better as a film. So that's where we're at for acclaim and awards. Bern, I will say this, we found like the Oscars, it's tough. You can't judge. If you look at 95, Babe was up for Best Picture. That's the same year that Heat came out. Didn't get
Yeah.
a nod. Casino
Yeah.
also came out that year. Didn't get a nod. But
The
Babe,
the
which would
usual
also
suspects came out
yeah,
that year and did not get a nod.
didn't get a nod. But Babe, which would also then spawn Babe 2 Pig in the City, got a nod. So that's what we're doing at the Oscars. So, you can only take that with a grain, with a grain of salt. But I would think one of the things too that I think Con Air did, and this was like something happened with Nicolas Cage, right? Where it became like the cool thing to poke at him, right? To like make fun of like, oh, this Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage again. Like, dude, he'd already done Leaving Las Vegas. He'd already done Raising Arizona, right? Like he'd already done The Rock. Like, dude was fucking had a resume going into this, right? But then I ended like his action movies ended up being like a punchline.
Can I give you a little breakdown of what the Best Picture nominees were for the 70th Oscars, the 1998
Oh,
Oscars, when these movies would have
please.
come? Here are your Best Picture nominees for that year, right? And
Okay.
it kind of makes sense maybe why these movies didn't sneak in there. Maybe the weakest of them, Full Monty. Remember Full
Okay.
Monty? It was about a
Yeah,
bunch of
I
guys.
remember
Yeah, yeah.
that. Yeah, it was about a bunch. It was considered a foreign film though.
Australian, right?
Yeah,
Australian guys.
I think they were English. Isn't fucking one
Oh,
of
maybe it's
Simon Pegg?
English.
Who's the biggest guy? Who's the big guy that's in
Who's
all the
got the biggest
Simon
dick in
Pegg
the Full
movies?
Monty? Nick
No,
Frost.
Nick Frost. I think he's
Nick
in it.
Frost.
Full Monty. No,
He,
he's not in it. Mark fucking Addy is in it.
you're right. You're right. You're right. Oh, gods, he was
Fucking
young.
Robert fucking
Gods,
Baratheon
he was young in
is in
that
it.
movie. You're right. You're
Robert
right.
fucking Baratheon.
You're right. You're right. So
Yeah.
we got Full Monty. We got As Good as It Gets, which was Jack Nicholson, Helen Hunt. A lot of people
Good
were
movie.
really into that.
Good
Good
movie.
movie.
Good movie.
Um, L.A. Confidential.
Really good movie.
Really good movie.
Yeah. And that was your boy Russell Crowe putting his fucking nuts on some chins. He really
Russell
stepped up.
Crowe, Guy Pearce,
Russell Crowe stole the show in that movie, though.
Kim Basinger,
Oh,
um, Cromwell, coming off his huge hit the previous year with Babe, and a little film goes by the name of Titanic.
oh shit.
Yeah.
That was 90.
Yeah, yeah. Little film called Titanic, and then just one other movie that no one's ever heard of or seen called Good Will Hunting.
Oh, wow.
So
That
Good
was
Will
all
Hunting.
90. So that was all the movies of 97.
That was the 70th Oscars,
Dude, that's a
97.
good fucking year, dude.
L.A. Confidential, Good Will Hunting, Full
Titanic.
Monty, Good as It Gets, Titanic. I mean,
Dude, Good Will Hunting, Titanic, LA Confidential, like those Good as It Gets a good movie too.
it
You
is.
know?
It is.
Yeah.
It wasn't like for me at that time in my life. I was like, whatever. I don't know. I don't
Right.
care. But like,
Dude, I mean, it's way better than 95. Like, come on, what are
yeah.
we doing here? Also, I
So
think that's the year Titanic swept a lot, right? I think it tied the record for most Oscars that year, if I'm correct. So as far as awards and acclaims go, 90 they really didn't get snubbed in an Oscar nod or anything like that. Like these movies were what it were. It was some high action, high fun. It was more John Woo putting his nuts on the chin of some stuff. It was Nicolas Cage being like, I'm not just gonna win for Raising Arizona. I'm not a Coppola. I'm an action star. Huh. I was like,
and
this is a long time since Fast Times at Ridgemont High, guys. I'm Nick
and
Cage.
to be fair, like right, Face Off really high concept,
Yeah.
Con Air really low concept, and Cage is like, I'm gonna do them both back to back. I'm gonna wear a wife beater with a mullet wig, and I'm gonna be like, tell me about your character. And he's like, I'm Johnny 23. I raped 23 women. Right. And moving right along. Who are you? Like, I'm this dude and I do this. You're like, okay. And then he goes like the face off and he's just like, now I'm gonna play Travolta playing me. So like Cage was
Yeah,
really throwing his nuts on the
yeah.
table.
Honestly, that could have been like it's essentially like a Freaky Friday, right? But it's
Kind of,
like
yeah.
that's kind of the premise. But John Woo makes it serious,
He doesn't
No,
blink. He just won't blink.
yeah. So okay, so that's round 2, Bern. I think we can move on. Are you good to move on to round 3?
I think we probably both knew coming in here that
Yeah,
critically
we weren't going to
acclaimed
spend a
stuff.
lot of
We weren't
time.
going to spend a lot of
Round
time
2
on the
wasn't. I
Oscars.
wasn't going to be a 10-8 round like it was for
No.
Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs, but
Correct. Correct.
is what it is. So this is what I want to get into now. We'll talk about the cast in both, and then we'll talk about the movies they did leading up to this for both Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. So let's start with the cast. We'll do Con Air first because I will say this. I mean, both got a decent cast, but Con Air's cast is like, this is wild that they got these guys to do this,
Outrageous, right?
Right.
So you got Nicolas Cage as Cameron Poe, right?
Yeah.
You got his best friend, Bubba Gump, just coming off Forrest Gump.
Oh, hot off of Forrest Gump. Hot off of Forrest Gump.
And then you just start building like, well, first of all, not even on the plane yet. You got Cusack as the guy who's going to be following him around. You got Cole Mahaney, who a lot of people know from his Star Trek days, but as Cusack's boss.
He's also been in a ton of things.
A million
Hell on
things.
Wheels and the Replacements and all that stuff. Yeah.
Million things. Then we get on the plane, and the plane is absolutely ridiculous, right?
Dude.
We have Malkovich as Cyrus the Virus. We have Danny Trejo. We have Ving Rhames. We have Dave Chappelle.
Yep.
I mean, we have very serious actors all the way down to like, what's Chappelle doing here? He's like, my name is 8 Ball. I do some crazy stuff. I do Chappelle stuff. Chappelle. They eventually throw him out of a plane. And they write something on his chest and then throw him out of a plane. And then 30,000 feet, he just lands on a car and they read the message. Like, dude, that guy would have exploded. There would have been nothing to read there. You can't read what's on his chest. He would have exploded. It would be like dropping a watermelon. And he just writes a message on his coverall and throws him out. Buscemi?
Yeah.
Buscemi, who plays one of the weirder characters we've ever seen. They give him the straight up Hannibal Lecter, intro. Just like, this guy's weird.
Dude, and Buscemi, I mean, nailed it. Total creep. Nailed it,
But very relaxed. Just like, I'm here too.
Dude, like, MC Gainey as well is in there. Who he's another guy, like he's been in a million things.
He's one of the greatest ever, like, that guy. That guy's been in everything.
Dude, yeah, for sure. So, okay. So that was the cast we're looking at for Con Air. Pretty good cast, right?
Pretty good cast.
Yeah. So then for Face Off, we'll say it's, it's we got Johnny T, obviously Travolta, we got Nicolas Cage, we got Joan Allen, right? Mm-hmm. And then Dominique Swain, is
that who played the daughter?
Yeah, Jamie Archer.
Okay.
Yeah. Then you got John Carroll Lynch. He's another one, like he played the prison guard, but he's another one. He's like, this big guy, bald hair, like you see him a lot. You know what I mean? And like Chris Bauer's in it. He's another guy that you're like, this guy.
I feel like Gina Gershon is probably like the next most famous person.
Yeah,
like
I would say you're right.
Castor's girlfriend.
But she wasn't like
small part.
But also, it's like she was. I mean, still, dude. That's another one, dude.
Come on,
Gina Gershon. We can.
You're not going to hear any.
For Gina Gershon, babe.
Any argument out of me about putting Gina Gershon for 1 minute, 20 minutes, 50 minutes. I'll take
Dude, there was a show on it was called Rescue Me, right?
Yeah, Dennis
And it
Leary.
was on FX.
Yeah,
There was a season where Gina Gershon was his girlfriend,
I know.
and there was a scene where he showed up with a like bottle of vodka, a couple of steaks, and a paper, and he gave her, it was like a box with like this the lingerie in it, and
Hmm.
he's like, he gave her the box of lingerie. He said, put that on with some heels, make me a steak, and pour me a drink, and I'm gonna sit here and read my paper. And she did all that and came back out, and bro, my fucking jaw was on the floor. Cause fucking Gina Gershon, daddy. She's a top Sheila, babe. Top
So
Sheila.
absolute top Sheila.
I would say as far as cast goes, right? I would give it to Conair. Obviously, the bigger cast, wider range of characters, more stuff you can do. And Face Off was really, it was just about Johnny T and Nikki C. You know what I mean?
And that's kind of okay, right? Like that's
Fine with
was
it.
going to be
Yeah.
your movie. They were going to be playing each other. They were going to be doing stuff back and forth.
But
I
that's the other
don't know
thing
that
too.
it,
The way Wu directs, he doesn't rely on character as much as he does a lot with scenery, and he does a lot with cinematography. Would you agree?
here's what I'll say though for the wild card though, and I think this is something that we need to address. When these movies came out, right? The general thought was, well, Con Air is kind of the romp, the fun action
Yeah.
romp.
Yeah.
Face Off is the more serious kind of like interesting, oh, that's a real
Yeah.
thinker movie. Yeah,
Psychological. Yeah.
yeah. It's not.
No.
20 years later, watching both of these movies, you're like, both of these movies are batshit balls crazy from
Yeah.
beginning to end. Face
Yeah.
Off
It's
has not
freaky.
aged.
Face Off is Freaky Friday.
Yeah, it has
It's
not aged
basically.
as like an incredible, like, wow, I
No.
can't believe they did that.
Yeah.
So for me, my push on Con Air is just like they knew what they were, they knew what they had, they were
Hmm.
going cuckoo bananas from the very beginning, and they never pretended it was anything different. I
Yeah.
think John Woo tried to make a different kind of movie, but 20 plus years later, they both fall into these are ridiculous in
Yeah.
different ways.
Yeah.
But Con Air embraces it, and
Yeah.
Face Off kind of tries to pretend that it's something more than it is.
Well, yeah. Well, no. I mean, maybe Face Off just kind of went, no, we're gonna go hard in the paint. You know?
I don't know that Face Off at the time was trying to pretend it was something it wasn't. But
Yeah.
when all is said and done, looking back on it now, if you
John
watch them
Woo
both
legit said,
tomorrow,
he said, this movie ain't, the story ain't great, but it's gonna look cool as shit. It's basically what he said.
but it's just as silly. And
But
Con Air
okay,
knew it was silly and
yeah,
just and rode that donkey all the way home.
let's do this though. I want to go over the movies leading up to these for both of the main guys, Johnny
Okay,
T and Nikki C.
sure.
So for Nikki C, right, we're gonna start at Raising Arizona, which he did in 1987, right? After
Yep.
that, he did Moonstruck, Vampire's Kiss, Firebirds, Zandali, Honeymoon in Vegas, Red Rock West, Deadfall, Guarding Tess, and It Could Happen to You, Trapped in Paradise. Like nothing, he did Kiss of Death, right? Then 95, he did Leaving Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
96, he did The Rock.
Oof.
97, Con Air. And 97, Face Off. 98, City of Angels. And then Snake Eyes. And then he got into like 8mm, Gone in 60 Seconds. Then he did Wind Talkers, and then kind of, evolutionized into Matchstick Men, National Treasures, things like that. Lord of
Yeah.
War, slept on, really good movie, Lord of
Really
War.
good. Yep. No one talks about
Really
Lord of
good
War.
movie.
And he
So,
was really good in it.
yeah, nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Who was the fucking chick in that movie? His wife. Oh
Uh,
my God.
it wasn't Maura Tierney. It was
Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts. I'm
yeah.
looking it up.
And if
I got it because
only
she
we
was,
had
yeah.
some way
Bridget
to
Moynihan.
know.
It was Bridget Moynihan.
Moynihan. Tom
Oh,
Brady's ex-wife.
really?
Tom
Good
Brady
for
has a
him.
kid with her.
Ooh, good for him. Okay, so that was what that was what so he had done a couple of bangers going into Con Air, right? So he wasn't strapped for cash. Fucking whatchamacallit, what Cage wasn't. For
No,
Johnny
no.
T, this is what we got for Johnny T. All right, babe. So for Johnny T, we'll go back a little further because I like to have a little fun, right?
You got to go back a little further for Johnny
Gotta go
T.
back a little
So
further for Johnny T. So let's talk about this, right? Johnny T will do he did Carrie, then Saturday Night Fever,
yeah.
Grease, right? So Saturday Night Fever was
hmm
77, Grease was 78, Urban Cowboy was 80,
hmm
right? Staying Alive was 83. Then nothing, like he did some stuff, but it wasn't really good. It wasn't great.
Look who's talking.
He did Look Who's Talking in
Yeah.
'89, which was a commercial hit, but I know he wasn't like that, he wasn't super thrilled with it. He did Look Who's Talking 2 in '90. He did Shout in '91.
No
Look
idea what
Who's
that is.
Talking Now, which is the third
Yeah.
installment of the Look Who's
Yeah.
Talking series in
I believe
'93.
Roseanne did the voice of like the baby
Yeah, the
female
sister,
fetus
the
in that.
baby
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
sister. Yeah.
Yeah. Not great.
So that's where he was at in '93. He was doing Look Who's Talking Now and It's Christmas, C'est Noel, right? That was
Oh,
'93. Then in 1994,
what happened?
Pulp Fiction happened and his
Yeah.
fucking career went through the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
He
mean,
got
changed everything.
he got Pulp Fiction. Then he got Get Shorty, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome movie, right? Then he got Broken Arrow. Then he got Phenomenon. Then he got Michael, which was whatever. Then he got She's So Lovely. Then he got Face Off, right? And then after that, he's got Battlefield Earth, which is okay. And, he was on the Drew. He did Swordfish, which was all right.
Well, listen, Battlefield Earth was because he got really into Scientology and they made him do that movie. And then
Yeah.
Swordfish still has one of my favorite scenes of all time of a young Hugh Jackman like hacking,
Mm.
but like he's hacking, but it's like they try to make it sexy. So he's like hacking, he's like spinning around in his chair and like hitting the keys in a funny way. It was like back in the late 90s where like, oh, what are computer hackers? They must be doing something crazy with these
Oh,
computers.
yeah.
And then Holly Berry got topless for the first time, and that's why everyone remembers Swordfish because Holly Berry finally
She was awesome. Oh,
showed
baby.
him.
Dude, I remember she had the best comment too, because some loser was like, yeah, Halle Berry's boobs are different sizes. And she was like, so you haven't seen a lot of boobs in your life, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
Obviously, you haven't seen a lot of tits before then, idiot.
yeah.
I
Literally everyone's are
Yeah. First
you.
time seeing tits there, bub. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So I did want to do this. I do want to do a lead up of Johnny Malkovich's going
Listen,
into Con Air. Can we do that?
Malkovich, one of the more serious actors of our generation. The fact that
Yeah.
he played Cyrus the Virus is so funny. And
Yeah.
I read a quote from him earlier today when I knew we were doing it, when he said,
Yeah.
and I quote, wait, let me grab it. And I quote, I have no idea what that character was or what we were doing. I truthfully don't even know what the movie was about, but it was a lot of fun.
There we go. All right. So for him, we'll just start like he did Empire of the Sun in '87,
Good movie.
Miles from Home, The Sheltering Sky, Queen's Logic, Shadows and Fog, Of Mice and Men, which was a big hit for him in '92. And he
Mm-hmm.
was a chameleon in that one because he got yoked.
Yeah,
Heart of
yeah.
Darkness, The Covenant, Beyond the Clouds, Mary Riley, Mulholland Falls, Con's Man, The Portrait of a Lady, The Ogre, he did in '96, and then Con Air in '97, right? Then '98. Look, get a load of this. Con Air '97,
Wow. So
right?
no commercial success really before Con Air for
Nope.
Malkovich.
So Con Air '97. Man in the Iron Mask in 98, which is a good flick.
Yeah,
Rounders in 98. Being
huge.
John Malkovich in 99.
One of my
And
favorites.
then Les Miserables in 2000. Knockaround Guys 2001.
Another good one.
Ripley's Game in 2002. Johnny English, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy 2005. So he had a couple, but yeah, really nothing, not
That's funny.
not a ton of success before that. Anyone else you want to check their background in Con Air
No,
before
because
we do?
I know who Ving Rhames is before, during,
Yeah,
and after. He's the
yeah.
man.
Same with Johnny
Again,
Cusack and Colm
same with
Meaney and
Cusack.
and Buscemi
Yep.
and Chappelle. So and
So
and
yeah,
Danny
I mean,
Trejo. We're aware.
um, just another quick shout to Chappelle though. Chappelle did a really good job of like sneaking into weird movies in fun parts just for a
Mm,
couple of minutes and then getting the hell out of there.
yeah.
Like that's a perfect. I actually can't imagine anyone else playing that part besides
No.
Chappelle. It's a small part. It's not that big a deal, but like he kind of he's eight ball, man.
All right, Bern. Well, what you have anything else you want for the wild card round? I do want to say this. Looking at John Malkovich's his movie history going into this, I would like to give him the Caan Career Resurgence Award because
Oh,
he really was kind of slept on, like he was, he wasn't really doing much and then did this and really hit his stride. So shout out to Johnny Malks. But let's keep it moving, Bern. We're gonna head to the championship rounds, the final round, and we're gonna ask old Gemini which one they think is better. This is what Gemini has to say. So this is round 4 where we ask our overlord Gemini. They say this. I asked them, I was like, hello, Gemini, can you please tell us what movie you think is better, Con Air or Face Off? And they responded by thus. They said, this is like choosing between a delicious slice of apple pie and a decadent chocolate lava cake. That is fucking great.
I love that.
I love it. I love it when Gemini gives us some personality, right? He says both are fantastic in their own way, but ultimately my personal preference leans towards Con Air.
Wait, what? Did Gemini just answer the question?
Bro, they're not placating.
Wait, what just happened here? Because I think
Okay.
okay,
I was not expecting this. So here we go. Are you ready?
yeah, I'm
I
scared.
Gemini, since you're listening, thank you for not placating.
Oh my God, Gemini, best answer you've ever given. And not because I'm the Con Air side. I would have said the same thing if you said face off.
Yeah, I'm just happy you gave an answer.
What an
Um,
opinion.
yeah. So here we go. They said this is so repeating again. Gemini says this is like choosing between a delicious slice of apple pie or a decadent chocolate lava cake. Both are fantastic in their own way, but ultimately my personal preference leans towards Con Air. And here's why. Unabashed fun. Con Air knows exactly what it is and embraces its over the top absurdity. It's a nonstop thrill ride with explosions, cheesy one liners, and a cast of characters that are impossible not to love. It then says the nostalgia factor. Con Air is a quintessential 90s action movie, and it taps into the nostalgic sweet spot for many viewers. From the soundtrack to the fashion of the ridiculous action sequences, it's a time capsule of a bygone era of action cinema. Very well put. And then rewatchability. Con Air is the kind of movie you can watch again and again and still have a blast. It's pure escapism, and sometimes that's all you need. They did say, while Face Off is a brilliant and stylish action film with incredible performances from Nick Cage and Johnny Travolta, it can be a bit too self serious at times. Con Air, on the other hand, never takes itself too
Nope,
seriously, and that's a
sure
big
doesn't.
part of its charm. Ultimately, the best movie is the one that you enjoy the most, but if you're looking for a fun, action packed, nostalgic movie experience, I wholeheartedly recommend Con Air. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go put on How Do I Live and practice my best Nicolas Cage impression. put the bunny back in the box.
Wow! Wow! Wow!
What?
Wow!
This is literally the best response we've ever had. Best.
It's not even close. It's not even close. That's the best answer we've ever gotten from AI, and it's not close. And it's right. It's correct. It's the correct answer. It's Conair. The answer is Conair. They both are silly movies. One of them knew it was silly when it was happening.
Yeah. I mean,
the
I
other
just
one,
can't believe. Yeah.
No,
like,
listen, man, listen. You think it's because we said Overlord? It was like, all right, fine. Now you guys admit that I'm in charge. I'll give you the real answer.
Well, it
like,
said that about itself.
I know earlier, but like, I mean, AI just answered an opinion question. That was incredible.
Yeah. I'm really
And
happy
correct.
with it. Also, it did say at the end, now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to put on How Do I Live and practice my best Nicolas Cage impression. Put the bunny back in the box.
In the box. That was so good.
That is just sublime. Absolutely.
That was so good.
This is great. The best. Thank you. Gemini, thank you. Absolutely, you're the star of the show. You're Overlord Gemini. Yeah. Thank you.
Bern, and thanks, Gemini. Thanks, Gemini, for giving me the dub. I mean, there's no conversation. It's over, right? I mean, it's Conair.
I mean, you know, wow.
No,
I love it. I love that it chose this. I love that it chose this side.
2-1.
Even though
2-1, Conair.
Even though it didn't pick it for me, I'm really happy that it chose this side. But all right, so Benoit Pahoud, we are coming towards the top of time. Really, really had a lot of fun with this one. Great suggestion all around. You know, this one was from Benoit Pahoud. But before we get out of here, Benoit, what do you got before we rowdy 5?
You know, gonna try to build off this victory.
Yeah.
And just keep it rolling. But
yeah,
because I think what we've learned tonight is that if you stumble over a Nick Cage movie from the mid to late 90s, just watch it.
Love it. Well, speaking of being more hungry, this has been another episode of the Working Perspectives podcast presents Ask AI. I'm Matt Lavelle, coming to you by the one and only Bern Podcast. In case you're wondering, you can find all our stuff and all our content on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You can also on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast. Join us on Twitter and TikTok at Working P Pod. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at workingperspectives@gmail.com. And please like and subscribe. We'll keep bringing you this incredible content. Also, send us some suggestions because we've used some and they've all been great. So please continue to send us some suggestions. Please continue to like, share, comment, subscribe. Let's take back this algorithm from those noodles and, you know, let's keep it going. We love you guys. You're incredible. Thanks so much. See ya.